Good evening, everyone. This is Danette's Kitchen. I wanted to do a really quick update for you all. I don't know how many of you all saw the video I did a year ago in the summertime where I showed, it was one of the garden videos, where I talked about licorice and I talked about the hyssop plant and I showed the plant and talked about how that goes with the scripture, purge me with hyssop and I shall be whiter than snow. And I talked about the things that people use hyssop for. Hyssop is licorice. The hyssop root is used to create licorice and can be used as a great hair rinse or for a tea or other things. But I just had some news, breaking news that I got today. A man died after eating a bag of licorice a day, every day for a few weeks, for like about 2 or 3 weeks. In Massachusetts, there was this construction worker, and he would eat a bag and a half of black licorice every day. Well, it turns out his body couldn't handle it. I don't know if I told you about how I really love licorice too, but I found that for me, it started to raise my blood pressure. I mean, I really love licorice. You know, you don't want to just eat one little piece. You want to eat the whole bag. Or I wanted to eat the whole bag. So, but I noticed that my blood pressure started going up and it became a problem, with my heart from eating this wonderful, delicious thing that I really, really enjoy. Anyway, back to the story. This guy, this construction worker, died about 3 weeks after eating a bag and a half of licorice a day. It's really easy to eat that much licorice in a day because, like I said, I really love licorice. It's really good. And I thought of it as sort of a dieting type of thing because when you eat licorice, or at least when I do, it takes away the desire to want to eat the other stuff, but the other stuff is important too, which is why Danette's Kitchen focuses on, being nutritionally sound, and you treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself, but you do want to be nutritionally sound in whatever you're doing. So anyway, this guy's body couldn't handle the licorice. He was 54 years old, and according to doctors, his heart stopped from eating the licorice. Just eating a little bit of licorice can raise your blood pressure, which I had mentioned that about my relationship with licorice. I'd like to eat a piece or two or three or four, but even eating a little bit does raise the blood pressure. There's something in the licorice called glyceric acid that's found in the licorice. It's made from the root extract from the licorice. And again, you can look at last summer's garden videos. I still need to work on separating the videos out so you can know that the garden videos are in a bunch and the cooking and the food news are in a separate bunch. So it's made from the licorice root extract. And some people will actually pull part of that hyssop plant out, wipe it off, and then we'll chew the root because the flavor is really delicious. But like I said, it has its negative points. So, licorice can cause your potassium levels to drop. And your potassium helps keep your blood pressure hanging out in the right area so that your heart is pumping right and you're not having to work so hard. Your heart isn't having to work so hard to pump that blood through your body. So it can cause the potassium levels to drop, and it also can cause imbalances in minerals in your body, like electrolytes. 2 ounces of black licorice a day for 2 weeks can cause heart problems. 2 ounces. That's not a whole lot. Nice little chunks of licorice causing problems for folks. The FDA warns that if you are over 40 years of age, this is especially true, that eating excessive amounts of licorice can cause those heart problems. I'll give you a little rundown on some of the types of food products that you can find licorice in. Licorice sticks. We all know what those look like. Licorice flavored jelly beans. Licorice tea. And yes, there is such a thing as licorice tea. It's a dieter's tea. Yes. And it tastes really delicious. It tastes like licorice, but you really can't drink a lot of it because it's not good for you because of the whole issues with the potassium levels and your electrolytes and throwing your body into off kilter, There are also over-the-counter items that people could use that have licorice in them. There are Belgian beers that have licorice in there. Now, granted, I'm not in Belgium, but just so you know, licorice is used to flavor up a variety of things. There's even licorice found in some chewing tobaccos. Who would have thought? So, this guy who died from the excess licorice had just switched from eating the red licorice to black licorice just a few weeks before he died. He'd switched and he was eating it comfortably every day. It's very easy to fall into that comfort mode, especially when it's something that really tastes good to you. Especially for me, licorice was one of those things. It was a difficult thing for me to cut back on. I had to cut back on it to the point of letting it go because I enjoyed eating it a whole lot. I'm not saying that you have to let it go, but doing things in moderation really helps. So this guy had started eating the black licorice instead of the red licorice a few weeks before he died. And when he was found, his potassium level was low and his heart rhythm had become irregular. He passed out while he was on his lunch break. I don't know if he had licorice right then or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. The emergency medical service team tried to do CPR. They were able to revive him, but then he died the very next day. Now, Jeff Beckman, he's a spokesperson from the Hershey Company, which also makes the Twizzlers licorice, which I really enjoy, one of the brands that I really enjoy. He said in an email, quote, "All of our products are safe to eat and formulated in full compliance with the FDA regulations," end quote. And he also said, quote, "All foods and candies should be enjoyed in moderation." Now, isn't that a mouthful? We should be enjoying foods and candies in moderation. Something to really think about. I know sometimes when you're a food lover and you just want to go out and try everything, and then maybe like your birthday comes up and you get a zillion emails of all these places offering you free stuff for your birthday. Free pie over here, free cake over there, a free sandwich over there, ice cream sundae over there, donuts there. You could get 50 emails on your birthdays of free stuff to eat. Does that mean you have to eat it all? Does that really mean that you have to go to every single place and eat every single thing that's free? Now, I've heard of treating yourself, but you don't want to overdo it. Because if people can use food for comfort, they use it because they're stuffing their emotions and they're eating to make themselves feel full and satisfied. But when we eat too much, especially if we eat too much of the wrong things, it can cause health problems. Like for this guy, he died. He died from really he just overly enjoyed the licorice, and it killed him. I know a man that used to go to a burger shop every day. This was probably around 1995, somewhere around 1995, because I remember I would see him going across the street from where I worked into the burger shop every day to get what they call the heart attack burger. Big, thick, juicy burger with the works on it. You've got your onions and your tomatoes and your lettuce and your cheese. But it was about a half-pound burger. He ate that every day until after 2 or 3 months, he did end up having a heart attack and having to get a bypass surgery. So he took his eating to a whole nother level, and it ended up having consequences for him and in his life. It's so easy to get caught up, especially if you have a serious attraction to food and you don't know when to stop. That's when it's good to maybe look at some food guidelines, or even just take one day and have like a notepad and a pen, and every time you eat, write down what it is that you're eating. Take note of those things. And then go back and look at it either later that day or the next day. Did you eat multiple servings of certain food at a certain time? Because as much as we like doing that, doing it occasionally is probably okay. But if you are eating like that because you're lonely, or eating like that because you're angry or you're sad, overeating in those ways can really have an impact on your body and your life. And if you want to be able to continue moving around, getting up and down steps, having mobility and independence, it's best to be mindful of what you eat. Just like recently, if you've watched my recent videos, I was diagnosed with the virus. I had it in an asymptomatic way. They call it asymptomatic. I did have some breathing trouble for a couple of days, but for the most part, I tried very hard to follow safe practices. The hand washing, masking up, and keeping 6 or more feet away from someone else when I'm in public. But of course, when I was on quarantine, I didn't have much of a choice because I was here at home. But while I was here at home, I had to eat right. It's good to have fruits and vegetables, even though we may not always want to have the vegetables. There's a purpose in those things. They help your body to work better so that everything functions properly, and you can have a longer, stronger, more healthy, and energetic life. So today's message really wasn't a food recall, but I did want to share with you the importance of eating in moderation. Because this man paid the price from taking things too far to another level. So take care, and I hope you're good for yourself.